Hello everyone! Welcome to today's video about the Epidemic of Labubus, where I will be talking about how Labubus became a big hit in the collector's market, but also a very huge problem. Now, let's start with the origins of Labubu. So, Labubu was created by his cousin Long, a Hong Kong-born Taiwan-based artist. Known for his unique dark fairy tale aesthetic, he got his start in comics and picture books. But it was his work with Mart that launched Labubu into the world of collectible art toys. Labubu debuted as part of Long's The Monsters series, a whimsical universe full of spooky but sweet characters. Labubu quickly became the star. With its elf-like ears, jagged smile, and playful poses, it somehow manages to be creepy and cute, a combo that toy collectors can't resist. But what is a Labubu exactly? Well, in Cousin Long's world, Labubu is a forest creature, a curious, troublemaker spirit who lives in a magical land with other monsters. Labubu is often portrayed exploring, causing chaos, or simply hanging out in surreal dreamlike landscapes. It doesn't talk, but through its many expressions and outfits, Labubu tells a story of wild imagination. A fun fact about Labubu that people tend to forget is that Labubu is actually a girl. And Momo, which is another type of Labubu, they're actually a boy, which is pretty interesting. Back to Cousin Long. So, his style blends European fairy tales, Asian folklore, and childhood fantasy. Before Labubu, he was already respected for his illustrations, but his partnership with Mart turned his sketchbook into a global phenomenon. Collectors love his work not just because it's cute, but because there's a hard story and a little bit of darkness in every design. And Labubu reflects all of that. Note to self, Labubus are not the first plush toys to feature a soft plush body combined with a hard face and limbs. I'm saying this because a lot of people that collect Labubu, well, they're only collecting because of the trend that's going on right now, think that other plush toys that are similar to Labubu are copies of Labubu, and that's not the case, because this type of design has already existed. Toys like this date back as far as the mid-20th century, especially in vintage and collectible dolls. For example, My Pet Monster 1980s, and some vintage Russian dolls from the 1950s and 60s featured plush bodies with vinyl or rubber faces and limbs. Now let's talk about the trend, aka the Labubu craze, cause it's literally everywhere. I go to Instagram, I go to TikTok, I go to YouTube. Everything is Labubu. Labubu this, Labubu that. Labubu. I mean, sorry. Labubu this and that, you know? From collectors to casual fans, everybody wants a piece of this little monster. But here's the thing. A lot of people aren't buying Labubu because they love the art of it, or even know the story behind it. They're just buying it because, well, of course, it's trending. Social media is packed with influencers and celebrities flexing their rare or limited edition Labubus. And that kind of visibility makes it feel like you have to be one just to keep up. It's become more than a toy, it's a status symbol, an aesthetic, even a lifestyle accessory. And while this helped boost Labubu's popularity globally, it also created this wave of hype-driven buyers who are in it more for the clout than the character. Which raises the question, is it about the art or just being on trend? I've actually made a short about this before. After Labubus were seen with idols like Lisa from Blackpink, their popularity exploded, making the prices rise even more. It feels like brands are taking advantage of this trend to charge collectors ridiculous amounts instead of keeping them accessible. and you're now paying more for the name than the figure itself. So it's actually not the first time I talk about this situation, but I decided to make a full video on this because I think it needs more recognition of what's been going on, and also other things I've found out that I wanna include in this video, which you guys will be seeing later on. Let's talk about Pop Mart's popularity. Pop Mart's success in recent years has been wild. Like, they've gone from niche collectibles to a global toy empire. And I get it. They figured out the approach with blind boxes, artist collabs, and of course, massively popular characters like Labubu, Crybaby, and also Molly. But here's the thing. As they've grown, it kind of feels like they left some of their earlier or smaller series behind. Some of them just faded out with any real closure, and it makes me very sad. Because even when we do see older favorites like Demo or Pocky Babies, it's usually just as one figure in a crossover series, like a big mix and match collection, or in some super limited edition release. It's like they get a cameo instead of a proper spotlight, and honestly, that's kind of sad. Because personally, I'm a big fan of the Pocky Babies and of course my beloved Demo, and I'm so sad that they're not getting as much series as before now that Pop Mart is getting more popular, because I've been only seeing Astronaut Molly, Labubu, Crybabies, and also Peach Riot. Pop Mart was once the space where a bunch of quirky, unique designs could shine. Now it feels like the only biggest sellers get attention while others are quietly shelved, which in this case it also happened with Sanrio. It's amazing to see Pop Mart succeed, but I hope they remember what made people fall in love with their brand in the first place: variety, storytelling, and giving all their characters a chance to shine again. Let's talk about Lafufus. The chaotic distant cousins of Labubu. These are straight up bootlegs made to scam people who think they're getting the real deal. You can usually find this at malls. At first, it was frustrating. Collectors were getting scammed by fake listings and low quality figures. But then something weird happened. Lafufus became a trend. People started hunting them down on purpose. Not because they look good, but because they look absolutely horrifying. The weirder the better. There's this whole mini trend going on Instagram and TikTok, showing off the most cursed, distorted, or just plain ridiculous Labubus you can find. It's kind of funny. What started as a scam turned into a meme, and now people are low-key collecting these freaky knockoffs just for the laughs. They might not be official, but the internet has definitely made Lafufus part of the extended monster family, distant cousins, and all. Now let's talk about my favorite subject: high prices. Again, this always happens in every toy in the toy market. Like, why? High prices. Let's be honest, collecting Labubu isn't cheap anymore. Whether it's an official figure or even a little weird bootleg Lafufu, prices have gone pretty intense. You'll see them sold at mall kiosks or shops, but even there, the markup can be pretty steep. Online is even worse. Resellers, scammers, and hype-driven listings have pushed prices way above retail. It's frustrating when you're just trying to add a figure you love to your collection. And here's the thing, even buying directly from the Pop Mart website isn't always easy. Labubus tend to sell out super fast, and a big part of that is because of scalpers and bots buying them in bulk the second they drop. It leaves real collectors with empty carts and inflated resale prices. I really think Pop Mart should consider adding a limit per person at checkout, even just 1 or 2 figures max per drop. That way, it's a bit more fair for actual fans instead of turning every release into a race against bots. At the end of the day, collecting should be fun, not stressful or overpriced, and hopefully, with a few changes, it can get back to that. Now onto the chaos of Labubu, where things get a little unhinged. Labubu drops have caused actual chaos. We're talking about long lines, people fighting over blind boxes, and even reports of figures getting stolen out of cars. It's honestly wild all over a tiny monster toy. And as if that weren't enough, there's also this weird rumor going around that Labubu is from the devil. Like seriously, it's given the same kind of energy as those old myths about Hello Kitty being satanic. It's ridiculous and honestly kind of lazy. Just because something has a spooky or unusual design doesn't mean it's evil. It's art, not a demon summoning tool. I think people forget that characters like Labubu are part of a creative universe. They're not meant to be scary or harmful. They're weird, whimsical, and full of personality. That's the whole point. So yeah, between the skull burst, the chaos at drops, and the weird online rumors, it's easy to forget that Labubu is just a collectible toy, but to those of us who get it, it's about creativity, connection, and a little monster we actually love. Now on to actual news that happened recently regarding Labubus. In London's Stratford Centre, UK Redditors report feeling unsafe carrying a Labubu. They even took them off their backs due to fear of theft. Theft and car break-ins. Thieves have targeted Mart stock directly, including a break-in at a store in Orange County, California, where multiple Labubus were stolen along with cash and electronics. And I've also seen online stories about cars broken into for Labubu dolls during mall outings. Scary world out there, especially for a freaking toy. Conclusion of the video. Labubu definitely sparks mixed feelings across the collector community and beyond. Some people think these little monsters are absolutely adorable, especially the plush versions with their soft bodies and quirky expressions. They see Labubu as fun creative art toys that bring a fresh twist to the collectible world. But on the other side, plenty of folks say they're ugly, weird, or even just too much. The hard faces combined with plush bodies can be jarring if you're used to traditional cute toys. Some people just don't get the aesthetic or the hype, and that's totally valid. Personally, I get both sides, and here's my take. Even though I love to collect Labubu, not because it's trendy, but because I generally find the design silly and cute, I don't participate in trends that causes harm. It's honestly a bit sad to see people making such a big fuss over a toy, while real problems in the world keep getting ignored. I'm not trying to be political, but there are wars happening, people suffering, and yet the focus gets pulled to a mass-produced toy with skyrocketing prices. For now, I'm holding off buying Labubus until this whole epidemic calms down. The prices feel out of control, and this reminds me of that vintage Sanrio trend where people resell merch for hundreds of dollars. These are toys meant for joy and nostalgia, but the hype can turn that upside down. As collectors, we enjoy our toys because we love the creativity and the cute things they bring to life, but the hype-driven crowd, they're often just in it for the trend and the money. So yeah, Labubu is an interesting cultural moment, one that equals parts fun, chaotic, and a little bittersweet. Question for this video: what do you guys think about this trend? Are you guys willing to buy a Labubu or even a Lafufu? Or wait until the hype is over? Thank you guys so much for watching. I wanted to talk about this topic since it's going on right now and it's been crazy out there in the collector's world. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. See you guys next time.